I really enjoyed the Brazilian approach of high technical skills and the very global kind of approach that they have. Now they're going to a more physical team. They've had a not so physical team. I mean, they were always very good athletes, but based on a lot of good combinations, good skills to try to reducing errors. About worldwide volleyball, like Europe is really, I think, the mecca. Like it's really where I think the fact that geographically the countries are so close, the fact that they have a lot of leagues. It's a club system compared to North America, which is a university or school-based system, and they also with the European Cups. Like they have a way to. What's interesting about the leagues are interesting because you play almost 8 months of the year, and then and you play and compete and train and so they develop their players that way in a very good fashion. They all have training philosophies and ways of bringing their athletes to their best level. And the important thing too is that by doing European Cups, what you end up doing is you end up sharing information because if I play a Russian team, I see a Russian. If I play an Italian team, I say, this is. I see a German team, and so on, and then you get coaching philosophy as well. So there's a lot of really important information to pick up. North America is a school-based system, and the biggest problem we have is kids not starting early. Most of the kids will do other sports before they do volleyball. In Canada, that's the reality, and compared to Europe, for example. So the growth of an athlete in Europe is usually much faster than a North American kid. So a North American kid will perform later, than for the same level of performance, usually the European player will be a younger player. So what you have to do, and I think the American approach is the same way, is we try to have a very systematic approach as far as the way the team will play together and stuff. U.S. players are very competitive players. In nature, USA is a very competitive people. So in Canada, we're not as competitive. It's a thing that we kind of need to learn. South America is very it's very Latin. Like it's very. If you look at the my references are more Argentina and Brazil. I don't know the other teams so much, but the creativity of their system, the way they develop the skills, and it's very interesting. It's very global and very precise in what they do, compared, let's say, to certain styles that are more physical, more based on serve and block. These guys are very global. This is very much a style that I like for volleyball because I do love my sport and I love when it's well played. So I love spectacular plays, and young Africa has been developing recently. Egypt, Tunisia, Cameroon, for example, had really physical players. We've played them in the past, recent past, and the game has gotten so global. I was explaining to some of our people back home that are some of our fun people, the people that give us the money and from the government to explain that this is probably the most global sport there is with basketball and soccer, where all continents play it and where you're challenged every time you play them. Asia seems to have struggling with modifying the game. That's what I find. I believe strongly that change is always upon us. That in a competitive world, there's always people that are trying to improve certain things. Better athletes, better skills. It's the same in business. Like if you're complacent or if you don't change your approach if you don't expect those changes to come, then it's really difficult. You'll be struggling, and I think that's where they're at. They need to. I think. Obviously, physically, it's a problem for certain of these teams. Australia, Iran, not so much. They get good athletes, but the classical Asian teams, China, Korea, Japan, struggle a little more. But I think they could still, do much better.